Hey, we're talking about the Taurus full moon today, and it's hot and incoming. It's hot and incoming because it's conjunct Uranus, and that's in many ways very contrarian to a full moon in Taurus. So it's going to be exact tomorrow at around midnight Central European time, so just for your time zone, Friday to Saturday night. Um, and yeah, Taurus and Uranus are many ways very contrarian energies, right? So on the one hand, we're just in the middle of Scorpio season. 2 weeks ago, we had that deep and profound, kind of gloomy and emotionally heavy Scorpio new moon, which is always a deep invitation to look to the deepest parts of ourselves, to make peace with the energy of loss and decay, of death, right? All Hallows and Samhain at this time of year that really ask us to go deep within and to shed everything that does not belong to our deepest heart and soul desire, to get rid of the excess so that we can truly focus on what it is that is truly important for us, what it is that we truly deeply desire, especially in the phase of inevitable, not just change, but also loss that life brings. So it's a very deep emotional and spiritually questing energy that can feel a bit emotionally heavy because it's also about making peace with all the ways that we have felt emotionally abandoned, neglected, wounded, or still carrying emotional residue from times past. So every time 2 weeks later, of course, brings us to a Taurus full moon, which is then so much about embracing our physical bodily needs when we explored the depth of our soul before that, right? So focusing on our physical body and the primal needs of the physical body and a sense of ease and safety and comfort. Issues around money and stability and possessions and property are always big in the field for this time, right? And it's usually a time of wanting to find easefulness, wanting to let go a bit, needing to relax, right? What a Taurus full moon is really inviting us on a deep level, to take it easy and to see that not struggling but also resting is what is allowing us to really come into resonance with what we truly want to experience, the deeper soul desires that we want to see in Taurus and physical manifestation. It's not just the struggling and the striving and the scorpionic pushing or trying to controlling things, but it's also about Taurus resting with ease and trust that all things bloom in the natural time. So even though that's a beautiful energy of any Scorpio to Taurus full moon shift, this one is a bit the oddball because it's conjunct Uranus. And any full moon conjunct Uranus promises a lot of upheaval, a lot of disruptive energies that are unexpected, that bring unexpected plot twists, events or circumstances which force us to course direct, which can turn our reality or our view of reality rather upside down. And that can be as much physical outer events as much as inner personal experiences or revelations. So Taurus wants to rest, but Uranus is talking about perpetual change and needing to break through and break free and liberate ourselves. So it's a bit of an uneaseful combination here, even more so because we are, of course, in this very profound territory of Mars opposite Pluto for the entire next coming freaking like 5-6 months. Mars is almost about to go retrograde early December. It is already in Leo. It is the natural ruler of Scorpio season, Pluto being the modern ruler or co-ruler, and of course also the ruler of the North Node, which is still in Aries, right? But the opposition from Mars and Pluto is very tense and brings a lot of tension, a lot of difficulty into the collective field, especially in our realm of relationships, because the oppositions we tend to play out through projecting it onto another people, or onto another person, onto another circumstance outside from us, because the internal split in our psyche is often too difficult, at least in the beginning, to really synthesize within ourselves. So it puts a lot of strain on all kinds of relationship dynamics in all kinds of ways, not just the romantic ones already, and it's very uncomfortable for many people it's very, very uncomfortable because Mars activates. Mars is fire and drive, and Pluto is the underworld, but also things that we have suppressed and where and how we have felt powerless. On top of that is, of course, the very last days of Pluto in Capricorn. It'll shift fully into Aquarius next Tuesday, on the 19th of November. So we feel this tremendous rattling of energy in many ways, right? The full moon is on 25 degrees of Taurus, 24, 25 degrees of Scorpio and Taurus. And in that way, it's of course also making a trine to Pluto at the end of Capricorn, right? So, but it's both of these outer planets that are very strongly in the field, and then the Mars, the ruler of the current sun in Scorpio, Mars and Leo, talking about our deepest heart's desire, what it is that brings us actually joy, what activates us with a sense of playful, co-creative ambition to really be a part of this glorious play of light on planet Earth, to really come into co-creation through everything that brings our inner child and our inner heart a sense of fire and a sense of spark, but that also asks us strongly to step up with courage and face our fears, to overcome our fears. So it's tense energy, and it also really talks about how there's so much shifting in the field, how there's so much that wants to break out and through and free Uranus, on where and how we have maybe felt too stuck, where a sense of comfort has been too great for us to really face the deeper change that our soul or higher self, and certainly the world stage, wants us to embrace. So this full moon, the disruptive energy, could very likely play out, like I said, in the external reality, but also within, to making us aware of where and how we have become too docile, too comfortable, where the invitation or seduction from comfort has been keeping us playing small or being very timid in the approach of how we go after our desires, how we manifest our inner value in the outer world, whether that's with our profession, our calling, our relationships, our body, our relationship to our communities, no matter which stage this is playing at, right? And this full moon, even though it's normally this very nice time, could really bring these lightning strikes of energy and bring shocking events into your life, especially if you got anything close to or at the end of Taurus and Scorpio, also end of Leo and Aquarius. But then of course also if you got anything at the beginning of the fixed sign, beginning of Leo and Aquarius is where Pluto will be in a second, and Mars is already hanging out in. And that way also beginning of Scorpio and Taurus, the fixed cross, right, of the four fixed signs. Venus, the ruler of this full moon, just entered Capricorn a few days ago, so there is a lot of focus on being focused. There is a lot of focus on discipline and integrity and structuring our emotional inner landscape so that we can build on, with integrity, responsibility, and patience, the things that we truly want to manifest in this world, the things that we truly desire. And this Venus ruling the full moon shows that persistence and determination and patience and planning and strategizing is very much in the field. At the same time, she also makes a square to the lunar nodes, right? The lunar nodes are on 5 degrees right now, 5 degrees Aries and Libra. Venus will be on 5 degrees for the full moon. It's perfect aspect. And the north and south node of the moon, the north and south node axis, of course, talks so much about right now still, with the south node being in Libra, also our relationships. So where things have become too unbalanced, where people pleasing or overdependency on others have led us astray or have left us feeling disempowered in regards to Aries actually going after the things that we desire, actually following our instincts. So there's a lot of balance here, and the best way to approach it is to find an internal integrity and realness, right? Have that truthful honesty and Mars and Leo to speak from the heart. So it's a funky full moon. The last thing, of course, is that Saturn goes direct also exactly tomorrow. Saturn is hanging out in Pisces, right? When Saturn stations retrograde or direct, it's always for a few days before and afterwards. You probably already felt this over the last week, that it feels like energy is slowing down. A planet changing directions can sometimes be said to be like it's conjunct itself. The energy gets very, very overwhelmingly strong in the collective field. So Saturn is stationing to go direct. It's been basically not moving at all. And so a sense of feeling slowed down or blocked or not being able to achieve as fast as much as we might have desired, as much especially as that Uranus energy that's constantly like buzzing in our field, putting needles in our in our skin that urges us to go and break out and break through and break free. But Saturn stationing shows like, okay, there was a sense of time slowing down, but from now on, Saturn going direct, especially in Pisces, right? Pisces, our big dreams, our visions, our how we stand in connection to the collective dream field and to the collective consciousness of planet Earth and humanity, and these visions, how we can make them Saturn manifest, tangible and real. Might see a lot of movement from here on out, but don't forget that the stationing takes a moment. So Saturn is not gonna directly jump into full gear. It's gonna stay there and hover there for the next good week or 10 days before it slowly over the coming weeks will slowly pick up speed again from 12 degrees of Pisces. So also if you got anything in that area, 12, 13, 14, 15 degrees of Pisces, or also the other mutable signs, Virgo opposite, or Gemini and Sagittarius, the middle degrees of Gemini Sagittarius, if you've got any planets there. Saturn now going direct signals that the issues you've been dealing with here with Saturn, with deconditioning certain internal inhibitions, or also taking greater responsibility for yourself, that would have been present for the entire last 6-7 months, will come up now very strongly. Whenever a planet goes direct and starts moving towards making aspects or making these aspects for a third and final time after it went forward, retrograde, and now direct again, shows that there's a lot of culminative energy in the field that really wants to bring resolutions in the coming weeks and months in regards to all the things you might have felt burdened with in the Saturn energy. So yeah, it's a funky full moon, but also the sun and moon make aspects to all the outer planets. Uranus conjunction, a trine to Pluto, and the full moon is also in a sextile to Neptune. So all the outer planets are in the field. Saturn is shifting. Saturn, of course, rules Pluto in Capricorn. It's the last days of Pluto in Capricorn. This very tense Mars, Pluto, aggressive, wow, dragon fires in the field. There's a lot of things shifting also collectively, and it's really an energy to take up greater responsibility and to not let the lure of comfort pull us too far in so that we feel maybe again impotent or powerless or overwhelmed at the face of meeting all of these big changes, not just in the collective world, but also that we personally have to confront here. And really using that Uranus energy as a guiding star to also be aware that if anything happens that feels at first uncomfortable because it's so sudden and unexpected, whether that's in your own personal life or the life of anybody close to you, in a way that might also affect you, or just as a passerby who offers support, trust that in almost most of these cases, the Uranian impulse is one of liberation. So even though things that at first might feel disruptive, especially to a sense of comfort or safety or stability, and that can very well trigger trauma response, so I don't want to downplay that here, but that the higher and deeper archetypal intention here is one of liberation. And that if this were to happen, anything that disrupts the normal flow of time and asks you to find a new perspective, to do a new thing, to embrace revolutionary energy of really learning to see things completely in a different way, to go with it and to trust that the intention is one of actually liberation and freedom, so that much more of your authentic self can come out and through. instead of one that is meant there to punish you or anything, right? It's not a, it's the Uranian energy can be shocking, but in the long term especially, it's always serving our awakening and our liberation, so that we can be so much more real and authentic and free in who we are. And hey, Taurus, express our desires, express our sense of worth and worthiness and self-worth in a way where we don't feel so inhibited by fears, inhibited by old traumas, inhibited by dissociated parts of ourselves, right? And yeah, the other Taurus realm of money could be very, very strongly connected to that as well, right? So probe there if there's also any unconscious patterns or self-beliefs, limiting belief systems that keep you locked in a certain fear or scarcity mindset instead of trusting, Taurus, and really being at ease and at peace with the divine abundance that is around you, and always finding the gratitude and the focus to that, right? That's another big thing that could also come up for quite a few. And yeah, thank you so much for listening. As always, I'm open for one-on-one sessions. You can find that on my website or Instagram, ladida. And I hope that gave you something. Hope you have a good full moon. See you next time. Bye-bye.